I might have missed the sign. I missed the sign. It's the story of my life. Just kidding. I've been getting the signs more and more recently. So good morning, everyone, our beautiful joined community this morning. It's so nice to see you all. In case you don't know me, I'm Catherine Ewing. I am a worship assistant here. And as Reverend Christine is on sabbatical, you'll be hearing and seeing a lot of me today. So that's that. I also want to let you know that the Unity Net guest network is down. We're having some internet issues, so you will not be able to sign on from here in the sanctuary. And we're hoping to get everybody online. So, technicalities aside, we're really happy to see you here in the sanctuary today, and to know that at some point during the service, if not right in this moment, many others will be watching us on Facebook and through our website. For those of you who don't know, we have a prayer candle lighting station in the back corner of the sanctuary. So please turn on a candle, say a short prayer anytime today, and there are also affirmation cards there to support your prayer, which you are welcome to take home with you and use in your daily prayer practice. Everyone in the sanctuary should have received a Sunday bulletin that has the words to the songs. If you don't, raise your hand. I'm sure one of the greeters or ushers will be able to get you one. And at the end of the service today, we'll just ask you to take your paper out with you and put it in a basket out in the atrium. There's a basket where you can just put your papers. For those watching online, you can find today's bulletin on our website, unityhartford.org. And then if you would please join me in welcoming our very special guest speaker today, some of you whom you already know, Reverend Carolyn Swift-Jones. Yay! We're excited and delighted to have you here. I'll just share a little bit about Reverend Carolyn if you don't already know her. She is a teacher, a psychic, an intuitive channel, and basically an all-around wonderful, loving, and insightful being with a ton of experience helping others. In 2010, she enrolled in a 3-year seminary program with the United Metaphysical Churches in Roanoke, Virginia. And in 2014, she was given mediumship and healing certificates and was ordained into metaphysical ministry. She has also been, up until this past April, the minister at Unity in the Foothills in Torrington, which is now a spiritual center, no longer holding Sunday services. And so I just wanted to recognize your beautiful years of service there. Reverend Carolyn currently has an intuitive practice called the Guiding Circle, and we are looking forward to hearing her talk today because they're always so provocative and interesting. And her talk today will be called A Further Shore is Reachable. So now let's say our welcome affirmation together, which is in your bulletin, affirming what we know to be true about unity. Together, unity is a positive path for spiritual living. Here at Unity, we welcome, value, and include all people. Again, welcoming everyone this morning, those in the sanctuary, as well as those who may be watching online. And if you are online on Facebook, please let us know that you're with us. See those afterwards. Now let's settle in with prayer. Dear Mother, Father, God, as we gather together as a community of faith on this beautiful new day that we have been gifted, anchored in the truth of ourselves as spirit in form, committed to being love in the world, we take a moment to pray first, to ignite our individual and collective spiritual power of faith, and to embrace the truth that God and I are one. We take this knowing deep into our hearts and remember that truth, the truth that there is no separation, that each and every one of us is a cell in the body of the one God, created in love and expressed freely in our world. We breathe and anchor this knowing with gratitude and trust that we will be guided into our highest expression of this truth. And so it is. Amen. Good morning, Carolyn.
Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to see all these faces, old and new. And today we're going to begin our service by singing together, I Release and I Let Go. So if you find those lyrics with you, and stand if that's comfortable for you, and we'll sing together. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn. And now for some announcements. A lot of things going on in our church over the next month or so. Hold the date for Wednesday, September 7th, because that's the day Unity will be celebrating the World Day of Prayer. Yay! I like the next line. This year's theme is holding the high watch. And don't we need that, right? Don't we all need to be holding the vision of the world we choose to live in rather than what's currently expressing? So please join Deborah Giddings and our prayer chaplains in a 1-hour World Day of Prayer service beginning here in the sanctuary at 6:30. The service will be held live here, as I said. It will also be live streamed to both our Facebook page and our website. You can participate in a few different ways aside from just being here. If you're here in person, you can submit first names only for yourself or anyone else by writing the person's first name on the World Day of Prayer board on the window in the atrium. And when you submit someone's name, that name is held in prayer for the entire day by the prayer chaplains, and it's really a very powerful experience. If you can also complete a World Day of Prayer form with the person's first name and place it in the blue box in the atrium. So there are prayer cards in the pews, and you can just place those out, in the atrium. If you are remote and you would like to have prayers said for yourself or for someone else, you can, again, email them, first names only, to prayerrequest@unityhartford.org. Again, prayerrequest@unityhartford.org, and the prayer chaplains will take those and, again, just hold those names in prayer during that World Day of Prayer. Again, that will be in the sanctuary or online September 7th at 6:30 p.m. We've also created a prayer book basket with the following books: A Closer Walk with God by Jim Rosemurgy, Teach Us to Pray by Charles and Cora Fillmore, Thank God for Prayer by Russell Lake, The Golden Key by Emmett Fox, and a CD of meditative affirmations. This is a really power-packed combination that I'm sure you will appreciate having for yourself. You can receive this package, which is valued at more than $60, could be yours simply for the price of a raffle ticket. So one ticket sells for $5. Do the math. It's a bargain. 3 tickets for $10 and 7 tickets for $20. There are instructions on the high top table in the atrium on how to purchase and submit your raffle tickets. Again, for those of you online, you can purchase your raffle tickets at unityhartford.org through the Donate and Register button. The winning ticket will be announced after the Sunday service on September 4th, and you don't need to be present to win, so wink, wink, all of you here from Unity in the Foothills, it's your chance. Also, next Sunday, September 4th, is our monthly potluck Sunday. Please bring an item to share with each other in the community room after service. If you can, please take a little index card, print the name of the food you prepared with any ingredients that others might want to know about. We want to be careful with, allergies and food sensitivities. And of course, you can also bring store-bought foods, and those should be obvious what's in them. So September 4th is the next potluck. And then another save the date. We invite you to save the date for the annual church picnic and cookie contest. Where's Rob Morehouse? He's already thinking of his winning cookies. That will be held on Sunday, September 25th at Nevers Park in South Windsor, following the service somewhere around noon. There are 3 service teams that you have the opportunity to join. Again, there's sheets in the atrium. That atrium is going to be a busy place today. But there are 3 sign-up sheets there. The first committee that you can help with is setup and hospitality. The second, fun and games. And the third is the cookie contest. So a board member, once you sign up, a board member will be in touch with you in about 2 weeks to start the organizing process. So for now, just save the date, Sunday, September 25th. Sign up for a team, and we'll take it from there. All right. I think that's it for the announcements. One other thing, I mentioned Rob Morehouse. He is the board member on duty today, so if any team leaders have an issue or if anyone has an issue that they need support with, Rob, you want to just wave your hand, our cookie master in the back. So let's move on to our greeting. So we are going to stay in our pews, but if you're comfortable, please stand as we greet each other with our Gandhi blessing. And as you know, this is a call and response prayer, so we really invite you to take a moment to drop into your hearts and then look around the sanctuary as we say this prayer, blessing your brothers and your sisters as we do this call and response. You can also hold those online in your consciousness. And if you're online, please feel free to stand in whatever space you're in, bless your home, your neighborhood, and you can even bless all of us here in the sanctuary because, everything is energy, and energy is consciousness, and energy is all connected. So wherever you are, and the energy is just flowing. So please repeat after me. I offer you peace. I offer you love. I offer you friendship. I see your beauty. I hear your needs. Our wisdom flows from the highest source. And I salute that source in you. Let us work together for unity and peace. Thank you. You can be seated. And now if you'll please join me in affirming our statement of faith. Together, There is only one presence and one power, active as the universe and as my life, God the good, omnipotent. Amen. And now, today's daily word is purpose. And I feel like this was written for me. You might also feel the same, but I have a special affinity with this here this morning. And the affirmation is, I pursue my purpose with passion. And the message is, over the course of my life, I have discovered what has kindled my passions, captivated my attention, and made me feel most alive. My passions lead me to discover my purpose, to which I choose to devote my time and my life. My highest spiritual purpose is to live from my divine nature. My divine gifts of life, love, and wisdom express uniquely through my passions, fulfilling me while demonstrating the truth of my being. I listen to the still, small voice of spirit within to discern the best way to fulfill my purpose. I heed its call to learn, discover, and grow. It is never too early or too late to embark upon the journey of a lifetime. I am ready, willing, and more than able. For this I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth. John chapter 18, verse 37. Again, today's daily word is purpose, and the affirmation is, I pursue my purpose with passion. And so it is. Amen. And now, as we move into our offering blessing, I will invite the ushers to please come forward. This is the time in our service when we have the opportunity to experience and express gratitude, love, and prosperity. We know that when we freely and joyfully give, we are opening ourselves to the abundance of the universe. So whatever amount you are guided to give, please take it in your hands or hold it in your heart and bless it with your love. As you bless your own offering, let me remind you that we can accept your credit card gifts online at our website, unityhartford.org, while checks and cash can be received this morning by the ushers, and of course by mail. Those online, if you are participating, please make a note to yourself to make your donation after today's service. In addition to your monetary or financial offering, I'd also ask that you hold an intangible blessing in your heart, a blessing for everyone here in this Unity community: love, patience, strength, awareness, joy, whatever blessing your heart is guided to offer today. Let yourself feel as grateful as you can to God within you as your one true source. And then please join me in our offering blessing together. Divine love, flowing as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am and have, all that I give and receive, and so it is. Amen.
I'm going to sing a song called The Healing Light of Love. In every life some darkness falls. You look around, you've lost it all. loved ones can't be there. Oh, who will you call? Just remember who you are, a miracle child of the stars. When your world is all gone wrong, come and sing this song. I am becoming stronger. I am becoming whole. I walk in beauty, in the healing light of love, in the healing, in the healing, in the healing light of love. Some things in life can't be shared or redone and repaired. Look inside to find this song. You can forgive and move on. I am becoming stronger. I am becoming whole. I walk in beauty, in the healing light of love, in the healing, in the healing, in the healing light of love. So open up your heart and mind. Let your love light shine. Let the world be your friend. You'll get back the love you send. Oh, I am becoming stronger. I am becoming whole. I walk in beauty, in the healing light of love, in the healing, in the healing, in the healing light of love, in the healing light of love.
I'm Deborah Giddings, and I'm going to read a poem for you titled The Cure at Troy by Seamus Heaney. Human beings suffer. They torture one another. They hurt and get hard. No poem or play or song can fully right a wrong inflicted and endured. The innocent in jails beat on their bars together. A hunger striker's father stands in the graveyard dumb. The police widow in veils faints in the funeral home. History says, don't hope on this side of the grave. But then, once in a lifetime, the longed-for tidal wave of justice can rise up, and hope and history rhyme. So hope for a great sea change on the far side of revenge, Believe that a further shore is reachable from here. Believe in miracles and cures and healing wells. Call miracles self-healing, the utter self-revealing, double take of feeling. If there's fire on the mountain or lightning and storm and a God speaks from the sky, that means someone is hearing the outcry and the birth cry of new life at its turn. It means, once in a lifetime, that justice can rise up and hope and history rhyme. Reverend Carolyn.
Deborah, that was beautiful. Wasn't it just gorgeous? Thank you, thank you. And good morning, everybody. It's so good to see you all.
Good morning.
Good morning. Come back in time with me to a beautiful day in June. Come go on a walk with me and my father. My father and I had just taken a beautiful walk around the memory care unit where I had placed him. My father had Alzheimer's, and he had done a very brave thing when he still was cognizant enough to know that he was losing his memory. He asked me to mentor him, to be his healthcare proxy through this journey. I say it was brave because, you see, my father and I had had a very difficult, contentious relationship. When I was a child, I sensed that my father loathed me, and I was right. He did. That's the truth. And it wasn't just that I sensed that he loathed me. I knew that I loathed him too, and I blamed him for the deep unhappiness I felt as a result of being hated and not knowing why. But on this particular beautiful day in June, in which my father and I had walked around the grounds, and my father had said, "Look at that bush, isn't it beautiful?" And I said, "Yes, Daddy." And he said, "Oh, look at that robin, isn't she gorgeous?" And I said, "Yes, Daddy." "Oh, look at that remarkable sky, isn't that beautiful?" And I said, "Yes, Daddy." After this beautiful walk, there was nothing but love between us. And when we arrived back at the front door, there was the staff of the nursing home, and there was my mother as well. And we stood there and we chit-chatted for a while. And then I could see that my father was possessed of a kind of revelation. Astonishment was welling up in his being, and he was staring at me. And his jaw had dropped, and he was trying to figure something out. And finally, he said in a kind of rapturous wonder, "I used to hate you." And the staff immediately said, "Oh no, Dr. Jones, you didn't hate her." But my mother very cheerfully said, "Oh yes, he did. He used to hate her." Can you tell I grew up in a WASP family? And the staff were really unnerved and embarrassed, but I wasn't embarrassed, and my father wasn't embarrassed, and my mother wasn't embarrassed. We were too busy being uplifted by the vision of what I think the poet Seamus Heaney would call a great sea change on the far side of revenge, that further shore that we had reached. Because, you know, indeed, it had been true. There was no denying that for a very long period of time, my father did hate me. There was no denying it. My mother told me, quite honestly, "Oh yes, he hates you. He wishes you were gone. He would like you out of this house." And as I mentioned in return, I judged him. I blamed him for my unhappiness. We were at war, but neither of us really knew why. What started it? What was this antagonism between us? We didn't really know why. I think it was probably some very old past life, some very old Trojan War, some endless Trojan War that went on and on and on forever, that had finally come up to be healed. It was something with battle lines drawn so deeply in the crevices of our souls. It was our own, Hatfields and the McCoys. So it had no beginning and no end, whatever this war was. But on that very sweet day in June, my father had forgotten why he used to hate me. Alzheimer's, bless its heart, had erased those memories. And all that was left was love. And he remembered as we stood on that further shore. He remembered his true nature, and he remembered our true relationship. And so you see, when I first read The Cure at Troy, I had been searching for poems for a group I facilitate called Peace Talks Here. And Peace Talks Here, we meet every Wednesday at 3:30 on Zoom, and our intention is to discuss the ways and means of becoming better peacekeepers and makers and holders and envisioning peace. And I had thought, this is a really good poem to bring in to elicit feelings of hope in us about a world that seems to be, in an endless fascination with war, almost hypnotized by that belief in separation. But I had forgotten that it was written originally as part of a play. Isn't that interesting? And I had forgotten that he had written it partly based on the Trojan War, a myth about a battle that just doesn't seem to end, and about the Troubles in Ireland, where he was a native. And I had thought that we would use this poem to help cure us of our own despair about a world that seems fascinated with division, hypnotized by polarization. But the more I digested this poem, the more I realized that I'd been drawn to this poem because of my story with my father. My story with my father that began as a hate story and ended as a love story. My story with my father, that further shore that we reached, where hope and history finally rhymed. Now, has anybody here ever lived in a war zone? No, I'm not talking about Afghanistan or the hills of Normandy or Vietnam or Iraq. I'm talking about those toxic, energetic landscapes that are filled with emotional landmines, where your cortisol levels are really, really high and your shoulders are like this up around your shoulders, and you're thinking, do I fight, freeze, flee, or please? And your adrenal glands feel like tiny little tight stones. That's the kind of war zone I'm talking about. Maybe you grew up in one. Maybe you were in a marriage that was one. Maybe you worked in one or work in one. Does anybody here have a war zone like that in your history? Raise your hand. Look how many hands are here. And if you're at home, please raise your hand too. We will feel that. Because if you do have that kind of war zone in your history, I say to you, congratulations. You're ripe for the opportunity to notice how that kind of history can rhyme with hope. And we're going to get to the how in just a few moments. But for now, let's just be willing to agree. Human beings do suffer. We do suffer. Human beings do torture one another. That is true. Human beings hurt and human beings get hard. All of this is true. History is crammed full of examples of our inhumanity to each other, to ourselves, and to the planet. True. How many of us here have scars that are either emotional or physical, which carry stories of painful history? Can I see a show of hands? How many people have scars? Okay, make sure that I get my hand up in there. If you're at home, raise your hand if you have a scar. Well, let's think about those scars. And I happen to have one on my hand right here. It's very faint right now, but it's an actual physical scar that I received 47 years ago after an intense fight with a boyfriend that ended up with me kind of shaking and trying to open up a can of something, and I opened up my hand. Got a big scar there. But now when I look at that scar, I see two different things. I see what was once a battle line, yes, but I also see stitches that help to hold two opposites together. And when I look at it that way and see stitches that help to hold two opposites together, I can see that that scar actually is not only a reminder of something very painful, but it's a pathway of peace because it is stitches that hold two opposites together. And so what happens if we think of our scars, both physical and emotional, as both and? Try this right now. Try it with me. Think of a scar, any kind of scar. It can be physical. It can be an emotional one. And try right now and think of it as a battle line, a line drawn in the sand. A line drawn that says, okay, you stay on that side and I'll stay on this side, and never the twain shall meet. See it that way. And now look at it and see it as stitches that are holding two pieces together. And now see it as both. A place that is a battle line and a pathway for peace. Now, as you do that, can you feel how your history is rhyming with hope? You're not denying that bad things happened. You're not rising above it. You're not doing a spiritual bypass. You're saying, yes, I hurt, and yes, I heal, all at the same time. When hope and history rhyme, no painful moment needs ever to be bypassed or denied. When hope and history rhymes, no opportunity for peace needs ever to be missed. When hope and history rhymes, it does so because we have remembered our divinity so deeply that we can include everything because everything is God. Our sorrows and our transformations, our woundedness and our light, all of it together, all of it is God. Thank you, Deborah. When hope and history rhymes, it does so because we remember hatred, we experienced it, and we know it was an energy that used to be. So we don't deny it. Not at all. Can we make a pact right now? Can I see a show of hands? Will we agree never to deny this ever again? Can we do it? Okay, can I hear you say yes? Yes. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you, Deborah. We don't deny it. And neither do we rise above it or pretend to ourselves that memories aren't painful. I'll tell you, it hurt that my father hated me. It hurt. I don't deny that. But what a blessing when he remembered his true self and couldn't remember why he hated me. So we are willing now to say, yes, that was so. We are willing to say, that which was so, and it came to pass, and the love we are never passes. Love always is. Who here loves John's gospel? We had a little reading of it today. Do you like John? I adore John. Well, let's go to chapter 20, verses 24 through 29, and let's re-experience together one of the most powerful stories of history and hope rhyming. And this is the story, you all know it. It's the resurrected Jesus walking through that locked door where the disciples are hiding and showing Thomas his wounds. Everybody remembers that. And Thomas had said, unless I see the nail marks in his hands and put my fingers where the nails were and put my hand into his side, I will not believe. That's what Thomas said. And Jesus walked through the locked door and said, Shalom, which means peace be with you. Now, I have to confess, you know I have a theatrical background, and my power of imagination gets a little wild when I think about this story. And I think about all the other things that if somebody else was writing the story that Jesus might have said. He might have said, okay, fellas, very funny. Who locked the door this time? Or he could have said, can you believe those awful Romans? Were they raised by wolves? Or he could have said, you know, the first time I laid my eyes on that high priest Caiaphas, I said, that guy will be the death of me. Was I right or was I right? Or he could have said, hi, everybody, I'm fine. But he didn't. He didn't. Those are funny, but they're spiritual bypasses, aren't they? They're bypassing a big, beautiful elephant in the room. And that big, beautiful elephant is the sight of a man with horrible wounds who's found a way to make them rhyme with hope. Now, I don't know if you know of Sarah Rudin's translation of the gospel. I highly recommend it to you. She's translating it from the Greek. And in that translation, she does something so powerful because she translates the put your finger in my side on my wound differently. What she does in her translation is she has Jesus saying to Thomas, let's have your finger here so you can check my hands. And let's have your hand so you can put it on my side. Be a believer instead of an unbeliever. Isn't that so much kinder and gentler and more compassionate? Let us not put your finger over here, you bad unbeliever, you shameful doubting Thomas. Come on, put your finger here. No, let's create an experience where you feel safe enough with me so that you can feel that I'm just as wounded as you. My wounds are perhaps different, Thomas. You have a woundedness of not knowing that hope and history can rhyme. You have a woundedness of believing that death is the end. That's your woundedness. Why don't you touch mine, says the way shower. It does make me cry. Why don't you touch mine so that we can see that we have a wound together? And when we touch each other, Thomas, notice what happens. The room is filled with peace. The room is peace. What happens if we think of this story not just as an invitation to Thomas, but But for all of us, what happens if this invitation embraces not only our doubts and our pains and our sufferings, but something to do with our doubts and our pains and our sufferings? Something that is other than just fretting about a world that seems to be disintegrating. Something else. What happens if we hear this as an invitation coming from the Christ of the world itself? What happens if we hear it coming from the Christ in Ukraine, the Christ in Afghanistan, the Christ in Somalia, the Christ in Palestine and Israel, the Christ in the halls of our government, the Christ in our schools, the Christ in our police force, the Christ in this country and anywhere where division appears to be the only power that is working. What happens if we hear this as a cry from the Christ of the world? And what happens if we allow the Christ of the world to say, let us have your woundedness. Let us have your awareness. Let us have your whole selves, not just the parts of you that you feel are spiritual enough. The parts of you that you have said were shameful or you can't bring into a unity church because it's not positive enough. I believe the Christ of the world is asking us for our whole selves, for our painful histories. I believe the Christ of the world is asking us to know that miracle is self-healing. It is what he calls the utter self-revealing, that double take of feeling. I believe this is what happens when we hear the Christ of the world saying, I want all of you, not just your pretty spiritual self, I want your heart. And when we say yes to that, and when we bring every battle line we've ever had, or every scar we've ever had, or every defensive thought we've ever had, and when we allow ourselves to be touched in our woundedness, this means we can touch the whole world in its woundedness. And this means we are remembering our oneness. And this means we can believe in the power of hope once again. Let's be brave. Let's concede that we do carry the wounds of Jesus and Thomas at the same time. Let's be brave and say, yes, we all have scars that tell stories of being crucified for no other reason other than we were an inconvenience. Let's be brave and say, yes, we have scars that tell of our inability to trust that the power of love is endless and greater than the power of despair. Let's be the resurrected Jesus. Let's walk right through the locked door of our closed histories, those silent torture chambers where we've kept our wounds in prison. Let's walk right through the locked door of the inner room where hope dares not enter, the room where our consciousness still believes in war without end, where we still believe in insolvable problems, and we still believe in the power of division, and we still believe that hatred can drain possibility out of existence. Let's walk right there, right into that locked room, as the Christ we are, and say, peace, peace. Let's touch each other where it hurts. Let's hold each other here where it hurts. Let's say yes it hurt, and let's say it is now healing. This is the place where the miracle of self-feeling is the utter self-revealing double take of feeling. This is how to make hope and history rhyme. It's up to us. Are we willing to be this whole? Our way shower was. Our way shower was. I think we are. I think we're willing to do something, perhaps today, in which we make our history, no matter how painful it was, rhyme with hope. I think we can. And for that reason, I am already blessed by all of you. And I am grateful for your decision to be that place where hope and history rhyme. Namaste.
I just need a moment to let that settle. Thank you, sweet sister. So now we will sing the peace song, and then we will say the prayer for protection. And Carolyn?
Fantastic. Let's sing this peace song together. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And now please join with me in the prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Well, thank you to everyone who helped with today's sacred service. Our prayer chaplains, Lynn and Joanne, are here in the sanctuary today, and they'll remain in the sanctuary after the service to pray one-on-one with you. You may also email your prayer request to prayerrequest@unityhartford.org, and our prayer chaplains will be honored to pray with you and hold your request in prayer and in confidence. In the back of the pew, there should be prayer request cards that you can complete and leave in the prayer box in the back of the sanctuary. And just to recognize those who helped with today's service, thank you to everyone, especially the live stream team, Julie and Tony, our greeters, Lois and Gail, our ushers, Sue and Deborah, and our hospitality team. Thank you in advance for those who Jocelyn may help clean up after our community time. Help is always greatly appreciated. And as I mentioned, any issues or questions you might have, you can see Rob, the board member on duty. If anyone is with us today for the first time, we would love to welcome you, give you some information about this Unity Church and the Unity movement. So if you're here for the first time, please raise your hand and one of the greeters or ambassadors will give you a welcome envelope. And thank you for sharing your energy with us today. If anyone online would like information about this Unity Center, please email us at officemanager@unityhartford.org. Be sure to include your mailing address, and our office manager, Tony, will put something in the mail to you. And as we wind up the service, please join us in the community room for some goodies and fellowship. We'd love to connect with all of you. And now, Carolyn, if you will bring us through the final song today.
Thank you, Catherine, and thank you, Reverend Carolyn, for being here. So there we go. I'm going to end today by singing a song called From Now On. I saw the sun begin to dim and felt that winter wind blow cold. A man learns who is there for him when the glitter fades and the walls won't hold. 'Cause from that rubble, what remains can only be what's true. If all was lost, there's more I gained, 'cause it led me back to you. From now on, these eyes will not be blinded by the lights. From now on, what's waited till tomorrow starts tonight. Tonight, let this promise in me start like an anthem in my heart. From now on, from now on. I drank champagne with kings and queens, politicians praised my name. Those were someone else's dreams, the pitfalls of the men I became. For years and years I cursed their tears at crazy speed of always needing more. But when I stop and see you there, I remember what all this is for. And from now on, these eyes will not be blinded by the lights. From now on, what's waited till tomorrow starts tonight. Starts tonight, and let this promise in me start like an anthem in my heart. From now on, from now on, from now on, home again, and we will come back home. home. We will come back home, home again. And we will come back home, and we will come back home, home again. And we will come back home, and we will come back home, home again. And we will come back home, and we will come back home, home again. From now on, these eyes will not be blinded by the lights. From now on, what's waited till tomorrow starts tonight. It starts tonight. Let this promise in me start like an anthem in my heart. From now on, from now on, and we will come back home, and we will come back home, home again. And we will come back home, we will come back home, home again. And we will come back home, we will come back home, home again. And we will come back home, we'll come back home, home again. Thank you. That song was an accident today because our technology is not working. So I pulled that out of a random drawer and went, oh my God. Yeah, this is what was meant to happen today. Anyway, so thank you to everyone for joining us today, both in person and online, I hope. We hope you will join us for our meditation service on Wednesday at 7 p.m. that is live streamed to Facebook. And we look forward to seeing you next Sunday, Potluck Sunday at 10:30 right here in the sanctuary or online. Have a wonderful week. See you soon.